welcome back to Cheeky Mare Stitches. I am going to do a stitch with me because I need to get a backing done for my cousin's wedding quilt. His wedding was in August of last year, and I figure I have a year to get his wedding quilt finished. I had the top finished before the wedding, but I did not get the backing done because I had a whole bunch of scraps, as you can see over here, from the quilt itself, and I figured I might as well use them. I also had some orphan blocks because I started out with one pattern and did a bunch of miscuts and decided that I would just do another pattern and then use the orphan blocks as a pieced backing. So they'll get two quilts for the price of one. They'll get a more modern backing and a more traditional front. So what I do when I'm taking miscuts or orphan blocks to make a backing is I try to make a little bit of a pattern. So I put all of these squares and squares within squares in kind of a pattern, and I put like things together. So let's see here, I had a bunch of these, so I cut those and put them together to make kind of a checkerboard pattern. Next, I'm going to put these blocks together. I don't pin much and I don't press much, but I know how to fudge it in the seam so that it looks like I did all those things. And so as you can see here, this block is not quite square, and I do a few tacking stitches and then match up the other side, kind of work in the fullness. And then finger press, and looky there, it looks like I did pin. And as you can see, I made a couple cutting errors here, but because it's a busy fabric, and if I hadn't have pointed it out to you, you would have never known. So just because you cut poorly sometimes doesn't mean you can't use that fabric. Let's see what else we're gonna do here. Let's add a border around this. So I have a little piece here that's a full width of fabric, a full width of fabric. I'm gonna place it on the sides here. Normally I don't have my camera set up like this, so it's a little harder to stitch. And before I finger press it back, I will use the block itself to cut this off. And the same with this one. Sometimes I'll fold it in half. There we go. And your finger press. I do have a roller as well. You can buy one of these and roll it, but sometimes I just find the finger pressing easier. So then I'll take that same piece, line it up with this side, fold it over this, cut down the side, finger press, and there we go. Now let's see here. Is it wide enough to add to this middle part here? Not quite. It's not quite wide enough. So we'll add some more to it. I've got some longer strips of this light teal. And if they're all the same, or relatively the same width, I can use them, or I can find a width of fabric one. So I'll take that. Do a similar process. Oops. Cut off some extra threads right there. So I've been quilting since 2011 or 12, I can't remember. I think it was 11. And I used to pin and iron and all that jazz when I was first learning. And my quilts looked okay, they looked fine, but it was like I wasn't enjoying it. And once I figured out some of the ways to put a little bit of ease in, or do like the Missouri Star Quilt Company does and do a few tacking stitches, and then go ahead and line up the fabric afterwards. So you could put the fabric in like this, and then do a few tacking stitches, and then line it up. You could, and I just wasn't having any fun with the process of quilting because of all the rules. Because I like knowing the rules, and I like practicing the rules when I'm first learning, because I do believe you need to understand the rules before you can know where to break them. But once I do understand them, I'm gonna know where I can bend them a little bit to make things a little bit more interesting for me. Let's see if this is big enough now. Not quite. So I could either make it asymmetrical and add just one on the side here, or I could do like I did with this one and just add 2 thinner pieces on either side. Or I could, if I'm not sure I want to do any of that yet, I can put this piece aside and work on another grouping. So here's another grouping that I could work on. Here's another grouping. I actually did 3 different quilt blocks. I started 3 different patterns for this wedding quilt, and then I saw a Missouri Star Quilt Company tutorial and thought to myself, ooh, I like that. Some of these are partially done, so I may have to cut some side-setting triangles. And so after the 3rd start, I finished the top, and I will put in a picture here of the top so you can see it. Let's see. Or if I don't have any of the dark teal fabric, let's see here. I think I'm going to go back to this one and put this blue strip here. Oh, and it's perfect. Look how almost perfect length that is. All right, that's meant to be. Let's sew that down. This improv quilting. If you're watching and you are a rule follower and you don't know if you would like doing things the way I do it, you can always take some of your scrap fabric and do some improv quilting like I'm doing and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, that's fine too. I am not going to judge the way you enjoy your hobby. I am definitely not the quilt police. And although my quilts are probably not show-worthy, that is fine with me. When I was riding horses, I never went to a show because I was riding for fun, not for competition. And the same with my quilts. I'm not going to enter one into a local fair. Most of mine are gifts and bed coverings for myself. I don't really want fame or prestige or prizes. And although I have a YouTube channel, I mainly started showing my quilting because I saw so many channels doing all the pressing and doing all the rule following ways, which is fine. You know, that's a good way to learn. And for those who enjoy it that way, more power to you. But I have a friend who wanted to learn to quilt, but she was scared that she would make a mistake. And I told her I make mistakes all the time, but I just improv or adapt or add an extra seam my way out of it. And so I decided to show people that you can quilt just as well, enjoy it just as much as the people who do the rule following. And I didn't need both of these. Oh well. That means that I can just rip one off. And some of you are gonna be appalled, but when I'm improv quilting like this, I just rip the seam. And if it's asymmetrical on the back, that is okay. Because it's the back. And if it just happens to be pretty, that is a happy accident. Or a happy semi accident. I do try to nest where I can because these pieces are the same size. Because although I have a long arm, I don't long arm my gifts very often. Especially wedding gifts. I do have that sent out because I do not have a computer long arm. And it's a small long arm. It's a little foot. And this is a queen, a large king, or large queen, small king. And I work full time. I'm involved with my church, and I'm on the board of my church. And I'm on a board of a social group. So, and I work full time. So I send my big quilts like that out. Tell me in the comments if you are a rule follower or if you're a wing it kind of girl or guy. Most of my 98.7% of the channel are women though. So, ooh, look, that matches up pretty well. Just add that to that. I started quilting because I used to watch, was it Quilting with Nancy on PBS? Every year I would go out to my grandma's house in the western coast of the United States. And on days that it was raining, I would sit and watch Stained Glass and Bob Ross and Quilting with Nancy and Yankee Studio Workshop or something like that, and just eat up all of the crafts. And when I was in college, a friend of mine quilted and I was reminded of it, so I started. Even though I was a poor college student, I got a job grading papers so that I could afford my small quilting habit stash and my horseback riding lessons. This method of making a back does take a little longer, but it uses less fabric, or it wastes less fabric, I guess, because you've already purchased this. You know it matches your quilt. And it allows you to buy less backing fabric. And I don't worry too much about if I make things asymmetrical or not. I am gonna cut some more. I have some more of the green, so I will finish out these. I will finish out these squares here. So that'll be later. Those up there. Let's see what else I've got here. Got some itty bitty pieces that I may or may not use. Got dog hair on it, because of course I do. Got dog hair on everything. I've got she's either 10 or 11-year-old German Shepherd that I am permanently fostering. And she has the thickest undercoat and sheds year-round. God love her. I got her when she was 7 or 8, and I was supposed to only have her for 2 months, because the place where I got, or the people that I was given her from, were doing a little experiment. Their daughter was allergic to something, had the worst eczema, so bad it was bleeding. And so they were doing a deep clean of the house and changing her diet and all that stuff. And they decided they decided to see if it was the dog. And so I was supposed to have her for 2 months as they did this experiment. And within a week of me taking my dog, the little girl was cleared up, and I'm like, no. Because I had just lost my boxer and wasn't really looking for a dog. And just doing a favor. And they offered to help me find her a new home, but I'm really picky about my foster dogs. I fostered 4 other dogs. No, 6 other dogs. And I'm so picky when it comes to my foster families. And she's old and she's potty trained and she doesn't chew on any of my stuff. I wasn't really ready for a puppy, so I said I'll keep her. Whew, but I tell you what, I'm not gonna have another German Shepherd. All the hair everywhere. She is a sweet girl, but I vacuum at least once a week and probably more like twice a week. And every time I vacuum, I get a full canister of hair. Let's see here. See what size this matches, if it matches any size. Nope, it doesn't quite match a size. So, I'm gonna add another row to it. Let's see, is this the right size now? Not quite. A little short. Alrighty, then I could piece some of these little ones together. Or I do have... Perfect, that's the right length. So let's do that. I will say that if you do this improv piecing, for the back of your quilt, I usually just do a line or two. So I do a column or a horizontal row or two, and I've been told I've never had a problem with it, but my long arm acts differently than the computerized ones. I've been told that horizontal rows of improv piecing is better than vertical columns of improv piecing. And I believe that has something to do with how the quilt is rolled up. That is perfect. Look at that. Perfect. Now, when I do something asymmetrical like this, and I have something similarly asymmetrical like this, I will not match up this asymmetrical, blah, 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 I don't know. Like, I would not put these two sides together because it's a seam I have to line up. I'm going to flip it 180 and put these like this so that I don't have to match up any seams. And sometimes the back doesn't look great, but I'm using up the fabric. I gave a quilt to a friend of mine, and it was for their wedding. It was for their wedding. And I wasn't there when they opened it. So they sent me a picture of a reaction, of the wife's reaction, and she had it on the floor in their dining room, and she was like, "Oh!" And it was the back. I had done a piece back like that. So I sent them a text and said, that's the back. And so they sent me a second photo of the same reaction, but with the front. And I'm like, oh Lord. But if they like the back better, yeah, it's their quilt now. But I had done a mariner's star on the front. And the back was just the leftover 10-inch squares. In a, pretty pattern, but still leftover 10-inch squares. Alright, so that looks a little silly, but again, it's the back of the quilt. And I don't remember how long it is, but I'm pretty sure that's not long enough. Alright, so I think I'm going to leave it there. And I will update you with how the back went as I finish it. I still have a few months before it's a year late. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to Cheeky Mare Stitches, and I will see you next time. Bye.